Welcome to the Wrestle Factor Podcast. My name is Josh. With me is my brother Jay.
Woo!
Thank you for that. Welcome to episode 14.
Yay!
Oh, I'm getting too old for this crap already.
Should be like episode 16 if we could stay on schedule.
I'm foreseeing maybe about 5 more episodes, and then we're just going to retire. We're just going to pack it in, and that's going to be it.
Hey, we'll make it to episode 20.
If we're lucky.
Maybe.
We might make it there by the end of the year. If we keep on this doing one every other week thing.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we're keeping our name out there. Not just completely...
Still more consistent than WWE programming. Buzzing!
Sure.
Well, actually, the show's we're a lot better this week, I felt. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Neither show started off with a 20-minute long promo segment.
That was good.
It was like short video or video package that leads into a little bit of action. So.
An actually sanctioned 24/7 championship match.
Matches felt like they had some time to breathe and actually, tell a story for the most part.
Yeah. And speaking of 24/7 championships, I know we weren't going to talk about this first, but segueing.
Yeah, let's get it over.
Let's get out of the way. Maria Kanellis is your new
pregnant champ.
Pregnant 24/7 champion. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. Honestly, not gonna lie, I don't hate it.
I just don't understand who's supposed to be getting over in all this.
I'm like I said, I'm really trying to just let them tell a story. Maybe there's more to it, and it's just got a slow start. I don't know. Paul Heyman did take over, or not take over, but now he has a lot more creative influence.
Yeah.
And well, actually, there was something actually kind of significant this week. It wasn't just Maria talks down to her husband.
Mike Cook notes.
Excuse me. Mike Kanellis actually won the 24/7 title. I used one very lightly.
He was stuck at the bottom of a dog pile.
He happened to be the one that grabbed the title out from underneath the dog. Why the ref counted that, I have no idea.
He was technically the first one in there. So I don't know. It's a ridiculous title. Let's not get specific.
Yeah. That aside, he won the 24/7 title, and then immediately was degraded by his wife, who claimed that he had a vagina. I kind of chuckled at that.
Yeah.
But he laid down like a sad little dog, and his wife pinned him. Quote unquote pinned. And now Maria's the 24/7 champion.
The pregnant champ.
Pregnant champ!
Yeah, I couldn't say that enough, apparently.
So...
Is she medically cleared to compete? I feel like she shouldn't be champion.
It's a joke title. We've talked about this 800 times.
True, but it's a title nonetheless.
Well...
Don't you have to be medically cleared to compete for anything?
It's all scripted. They don't...
Wow. Way to just kick my argument in the vagina.
Exposing the business over here. You heard it here first, folks. Wrestling is scripted.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to keep this whole storyline of Maria talking down to her husband, when is Mike going to come out in, some sort of gimp suit? Is that the whole thing? Or,
It's not a fetish.
He keeps coming back for some reason.
He has no balls.
Beta male.
Sure. That's another thing, is, the story, I want to see where it ends up. Is Mike just going to, snap and be like, I'm your husband, you shut your mouth, woman?
Oh, you can't do that nowadays.
Not abuse her, but stand up for himself. Do something. Because how long can you take getting walked on before you just had enough? I don't care who you are. Everyone has a breaking point. It needs to pay off in that way somehow.
Is this just a way to show that, relationships can be abusive where the female is the one being the abuser?
I guess.
I don't know.
I mean, only stupid people deny that that's a thing anyway.
I mean, yeah.
So,
but still,
people with half a brain know that it happens.
Like you're saying, I'm waiting to see the end game of this because I don't know what to make of it right now.
Yeah, I don't either. But it was significantly better than the first 2 or 3 segments they've had since it started this whole thing.
At least they actually had a reason to be on TV this week.
At least they're on TV though.
Yeah.
Because if I just signed a new 5-year deal after complaining a lot that I was unhappy with my position, I would want to be on TV more.
I mean, yeah.
So.
Probably on the contract. Got to have some sort of segment every week.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, so yeah, Marie Kanellis 24/7 champ. Interested to see where it goes. I don't have much more to say right now, but
no,
we'll just see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Moving on. SmackDown ended kind of weird. Kind of weird.
You mean like the?
I'm fine with what they were going for. The whole like someone tried to attack Roman Reigns thing. It was very, very like oddly like filmed. Because well, for starters, Kofi won his match against AJ. They immediately did the transition thing to Kayla backstage because they were obviously running out of time.
Yes.
They transitioned to that. She started talking about Roman Reigns showing up soon, and he's already being filmed walking down to the interview space. They never do that.
No.
It was specifically for this thing. And on the way there, someone knocks over this frame of some kind. I don't know what it's for, why it's there.
Yeah.
No one heard the forklift running before that moment.
They had a flashing light on it.
They do. Yeah, by default they have those.
Yeah.
Someone knocked over this steel frame, whatever it is, onto Roman, and as all prop sets do, they were angled and measured just the right distance so that it lands on top of something else right behind him and not Roman himself.
Yeah, there's about 3 feet of space.
So there was enough space for him to be underneath it and it not hurt him. And he walked. At least he was like, I'm fine. Like, it didn't actually hit me. Okay. You remember? Okay. Side note. You remember the Vincent McMahon thing?
I was about to say the $1 Million Mania.
Yeah, where the sign fell on him, quote unquote.
I was about to say
he ducks out of the way 20 seconds early, and then it falls and hits the stage, and they act like he died.
It just reminded me of the line at the end of this. Vince is like, I can't feel my legs.
I feel like he's saying that a lot these days.
Sadly.
Anyway, back to the Roman thing. So he's fine, and the whole thing is just like they kind of like go off the air, like who attacked him, like who could that have been, who engineered this forklift to not make any noise so that he could surprise attack him with it. But I just thought the whole like way they filmed it and the cutting the angles and them like shouting like look out and him like putting his hands up, which is like all of it together was just very cringe and very like poorly done in that sense.
Plus it looked like they couldn't quite get it to tip initially because he's like preparing to sort of catch it.
He has a wrestler thing where he like prepares for the impact, but like
it leans over a little bit, but it doesn't completely go. So I don't know. The whole thing could have been done a little bit better, but I could have been probably were rushed for time.
It could have been one of those like they pre-taped it and like tried different angles and had a setup where they could just redo it and then like play it at the end to make it seem live because they've done that before.
I think it was just because they were rushed.
Well, yeah, but like I said, they could have pre-taped it and then they would have known exactly how much time this is going to take. Make sure we go to the segment at this point and then it's done. And you can, if you like pre-do it or like pre-tape it, you can like cut all your camera angles perfectly. You can do whatever you need to do to, I don't know, make the segment look how they needed it to look. It just looked a little cheesy, I thought.
Well, apparently, the show was rewritten twice the day of.
Shocker.
So that it might not have been pre-taped. They probably did have to do it live.
Oh, I'm sure it was live, but
I don't know.
But anyway, the whole segment leads into what I want to talk about most on this episode is who do you think attacked Roman Reigns, and by extension, who do you think will be his SummerSlam opponent? I think it will be the same person. Whoever attacked him will be his opponent.
Yeah. Apparently, the rumor is that it was Buddy Murphy who attacked him, and that's mostly going off the fact that he is there in the background in like the last 5 seconds of the show,
which I didn't see. You told me he was there, but I didn't see it.
It's after Roman walks off and he goes around the corner and he kind of just disappears around the corner. There's just a guy standing back there, and people are saying it's Buddy Murphy, which would be awesome, mostly for the fact that Buddy Murphy's actually being used.
Right. I've been waiting to see Buddy Murphy on TV since they said he was gonna be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So if it's him, cool. I, however, think it is not him. I think this segment is gonna go one of two ways. It will go either like the traditional way, where they do this big thing, this big spot, where someone tries to attack him, and then they just ignore it until it's convenient for them to maybe bring it up again.
I mean...
Or it will be addressed next week, and there will be any build up to it. It won't just be... It'll be like, your attacker was this man, and then it comes out, and it's, cool, I kind of thought it might have been him anyway. My guess is that it's Samoa Joe.
People were starting to chant Joe after the whole incident happened.
Just because they've been doing this whole, like, Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns, or Samoan Joe, as I sometimes call him. They're kind of doing this whole feud, and it would not make a whole lot of sense to completely, like, take a detour to a different opponent 2 weeks before SummerSlam. I mean, why have him do this half feud with Joe that didn't have any sort of payoff or blow off match or anything? I mean, they all had a brawl on Raw the night before anyway.
Yeah.
If he just is not going to fight Joe, what was the point of doing any of that?
I don't know.
And honestly, now since we're talking about it, I feel like they could be doing more to build up this whole like Samoan versus Samoan thing, where Roman Reigns is from, the wrestling family of Samoans, The Rock, the Usos, his dad and his uncle, Rikishi, and everybody. They've all been in WWE. And Samoa Joe is from a completely different family that is not part of any wrestling lineage or whatever.
Yeah.
And he can say, like, I'm better than you, and I'm better than any one of your family. I feel like that would have made an interesting story.
I mean,
and they've kind of maybe addressed it here and there. Not a whole lot, which is kind of odd since Samoa Joe loves talking about people's families.
Yeah. It's too much family to talk about.
But yes, a long, convoluted way of saying that I think it was Samoa Joe.
It most likely will be.
I won't be disappointed if it's Buddy.
Yeah.
Because Buddy is, I think he is supposed to be a heel.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of everything, whether it's Buddy versus Reigns or Samoa Joe versus Reigns, the SummerSlam card is already pretty packed as it is.
Yeah.
It's like 15 matches.
I don't have it pulled up, but there's Rollins and Lesnar. There is Kofi and Randy. There is Becky and Natalya. There's Bayley and Ember. I'm going to see how many I can name off before you read off the card.
There are 9 matches so far.
Okay, so I got the 2 world titles and the 2 women's titles so far.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is Miz and Ziggler.
Yes.
There is Balor and Wyatt.
Yes.
That's 6, right?
Technically, Balor versus The Fiend.
The Fiend. It's Bray Wyatt.
Yes,
there is no tag team matches have been announced, right?
No. There's all singles matches so far.
There is AJ versus Ricochet, the U.S. title.
Yes.
As far as I know, they didn't announce it on SmackDown, but is Nakamura versus Ali one?
That is not
on there.
Not official yet.
What are the 2 matches I'm missing?
We've got Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon.
How did I miss that?
Where if Owens loses, he will quit WWE, which
essentially means he's fired.
And you have Trish Stratus versus Charlotte Flair.
Oh yeah. Another segue.
Before though, to completely mess up your segue, to run your segue through a pothole and trip. The whole if Owens loses, he will quit WWE thing. Do you not like stipulations like that? Because it almost immediately just gives away the finish. Because even if Shane is to win, Owens isn't leaving.
No, he's under contract. I know he is.
Exactly.
So that
it's just using your brain, like knowing it's like they're not going to get rid of one of the biggest guys they have.
Granted, that isn't part of storyline. That isn't like something that the casual fan really knows. That's more of like we're hardcore wrestling fans. Of course, we know something about backstage roles.
A one-sided stipulation, I will say.
One-sided yeah.
Where like if
it depends.
If Shane loses, nothing. If he wins, awesome. You're not to deal with Kevin Owens anymore. But Kevin Owens has to win.
I wouldn't say. I think in this instance. Also, given the rumors of Shane being taken off TV, that it kind of does spoil the ending. Like, we know what's going to happen. I don't necessarily hate one-sided stipulations because it puts more pressure on the person. Like Kevin Owens in this instance, it puts more pressure on him to win, and you feel, I guess, more gratification when he does win.
Yeah. Like
when someone puts their career on the line. My issue with it is, what happens if he chooses not to quit? He is then fired, is he not? Because he went against the stipulation of the match.
I mean, technically.
Did he ever sign a contract that he would quit?
Yeah, it says if he loses, he will quit WWE, not he will be fired.
Also,
WWE.
That just kind of brings it around full circle. He's under contract. You can't just quit your contract. You have to be terminated from your contract.
Technically requesting his
business.
release? I don't know.
How many people have requested their release and got denied?
See, it's arguments like that. It's like that it immediately pokes a hole in your stipulation.
I guess in the...
Like, unless it is specified in the match contract that, yes, if he loses, he will have to leave.
I guess it works in the whole, scenario of the storyline, is that Shane wants him gone.
Yeah.
So, if he loses, it's like, I'm not going to fire you, I'm going to make you quit. Like, you have to tell me you quit.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's fine. But no, to answer your question, I don't really have an issue with one-sided stipulations. It just depends on the stipulation.
Well, something related to that reminds me of, I think it was back in 2005, the whole Matt Hardy versus Edge storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Where back when, brand split was an actual thing.
LOL.
Yes. Stuff like a loser leaves town matches, where it's like, oh, if you lose, you leave Monday Night Raw. So it's not necessarily okay, so they're going to lose, they're immediately going to go to SmackDown. It could just be a way to write them off for a while.
Right.
Or something like that I like, because he could lose, he could win. In a situation like this, where Shane has no negative stipulation, if Shane loses, it's like I said, it's whatever. If he wins, it's whatever. Kevin has to win, though.
Right.
Or, it's like, if Kevin loses, he has to quit. If Shane loses, he's not allowed on TV anymore. Something like that, or just something negative for Shane, I think would be better. It would probably still be pretty predictable, but it wouldn't be that predictable. Just saying. That's my thought.
I think he's gonna lose no matter what.
I mean, yeah, people want him to lose.
Yeah. But what I'm happy about, there was no Shane McMahon on TV this week.
Very little.
He had that promo at the beginning of SmackDown that was all of about 2 or 3 minutes.
Still getting heel points, though. They did in portrait. But, I mean, I guess it was a selfie, so it didn't really matter.
You can still do it in landscape, so no excuses.
Well, if you do it in landscape, you're going to see even more sweat, so...
Yeah.
Anyway. Speaking of marquee matches at SummerSlam.
What I was going to say in my segue before you rudely derailed, Charlotte and Trish Stratus are having a match at SummerSlam. Whoop-de-doo!
Ought to be good.
I don't know if I'm excited for it. I like Charlotte matches, but it's been a long time, with the exception of Evolution, it's been a long time since I've seen a Trish Stratus match.
I mean, the whole point of this match is just to see who's the best blonde wrestler of all time.
Well, I really I feel they're going to put Charlotte over on this one. Why would you bring back Trish Stratus, have her beat Charlotte?
Exactly.
So...
yeah. It seems pretty obvious.
I think it's a way to keep her occupied for SummerSlam without having her in the title picture again, while also putting her over and building her up.
That being said, though, Trish Stratus is a female competitor in the WWE who's had one of the longest tenures, or the most longevity. She was around in 99 or 2000, and they're still able to sell her in a match in 2019. So it's not bad.
Yeah.
Considering most females in WWE, you might get lucky at 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of them don't stick around really. Or at least they used to.
Then you have your Alicia Foxes who just can't go away.
She's a trailblazer. She's a pioneer of the women's evolution. Don't you know that?
Oh yeah, one-time Divas champion.
Did you know? Did you hear how many times they said trailblazer in this Charlotte and Trish Stratus bit? They said it 3 times.
Yeah, they said it more times than their combined championship reigns.
Yeah.
Which are however many.
Statistically, that's incorrect, but
yes.
Yeah, it is exaggeration. Anyway, from one marquee match to another. Segue. I just dabbed, sorry.
Dib on him.
Lesnar beat the holy crap out of Seth Rollins this week, and I didn't hate it.
No.
I hate Brock Lesnar, but this was good.
Yeah, it wasn't suplex after suplex.
Right. It was F5 after F5, but Seth did.
They added something to it, though.
I think Seth did an amazing job selling this.
Oh, yeah.
To a point where I actually thought, like, is he, like, actually hurt? Because he's got blood in his mouth. He's, like, almost vomiting.
Like, coughing and dry heaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, because Lesnar dropped him pretty hard on the chair and the stretcher. He bounced off that stretcher.
Yeah.
But he hit the hair pretty hard.
The stretcher, he hit a little more with the side. Like, I'm not saying it didn't hurt.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, he hit it a little more with the hip.
Yeah.
But still, taking 3 bumps onto the chair.
Yeah, a completely, like, unfolded chair that's just sitting there. Where, like, the edge of the top of it, like, hits you right in the ribs. Like, it probably didn't feel good. So, I'm curious how they did the blood spot. I don't know if he just, like, maybe bit his tongue or something or what. But
bit his cheek or, I don't know. I think it was supposed to mimic internal bleeding from...
I kind of got that vibe, yeah.
Being dropped on his midsection a couple times.
It was, the beatdown was, like, so brutal to the point where Paul Heyman was, like, begging Lesnar to stop.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to kill him.
Which, good on commentary, they pointed that out.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, in the 15 years I've seen Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, is like, I've never seen Paul Heyman, you know, begging Lesnar to stop.
Right.
It's like... And then the spot after, which, like, they're stretchering Rollins through the backstage to the ambulance. Out of nowhere, there's just a brawl that starts happening between Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, the Usos, and the OC.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, they're running back to the ambulance. And I thought this was a little mess up. There was one EMT going around the side, and I thought that they were about to go, and he wasn't in, so they had to pump the brakes. And I think a lot of people... Yeah, a lot of people thought that, because there was a little chuckle, but then they went to the other angle. It's like, oh, crap.
And...
It's not over.
Yeah, Lesnar was in front of the ambulance, and he said, don't move. And he stopped, and he went around the back. Yeah. Why at that point do you not just hit the gas?
It's Brock Lesnar.
And surely there's a lock on that back door.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't understand that part. I get it, you know, it's a story, it's an angle and stuff, but why not at that point when he's, like, almost at the back, but not quite, just go? Because you got a half-dead wrestler in the back of your ambulance, you kind of need to get him to the hospital.
Because then you wouldn't have that sweet shot of a 200-some-pound gorilla essentially, yanking a man strapped to a stretcher out of the back of an ambulance.
He straight up yeeted Seth out that ambulance.
Yeah. Rolled about, like, rolled about 30 or 40 feet.
Bump into that luggage case.
Yeah, flips him off the stretcher, and then F5s him onto the stretcher. Like, Brock, you're a terrible EMT.
And just to back up for a minute, after he beat him down in the ring, the EMTs did a poor job getting him on that stretcher.
Oh, yeah.
If you want him on the stretcher, you don't bend his body. You don't twist him. You don't move him. You lie him flat, and then you transport him onto the stretcher and strap him down.
Yeah.
And any idiot knows that. They're trying to, like, get him through the ropes. Like, come on, you can do it, man. Like, you good.
I'll piggyback you.
I'm an EMT, okay, but you can do all the work. I'm here to look good.
Is your neck good? Go ahead and just fling it
go
back
ahead
and
and Go ahead and shake your head like you're trying to get all the water out of your hair.
Come on, shake it off.
You're fine.
Shake it off. Come on. Oh, you're a wrestler. It's all fake. Come on.
It's all fake.
Come on.
It's all an act.
Quit spitting that blood out. Come
on. Oh, wrong program. Haha. Well, I mean, we're only like 20-something minutes in, and that's kind of all I wanted to talk about this week.
I mean, yeah, like, obviously, like we've said, the shows were better this week. Not really too much high-profile stuff.
No,
We don't want to give WWE too much credit because then this will be like the one good episode all year, and then the rest is just going to be poor.
there was another Firefly Funhouse,
Yes.
which felt more like it was not so much Bray Wyatt controlled this time.
Yeah.
I mean, I still liked it. Still think it played into the angle and everything. So,
I mean, poor Finn having to take another loss, but
yeah,
at the same time,
he is losing a lot for someone that's supposed to be fighting the Fiend.
yeah, it's probably gonna be quite a squash.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
But maybe this will lead to something for Finn down the line.
Well, after his little break, after SummerSlam, apparently he's wanting to take time off, so probably get destroyed by the Fiend. Take some time off.
What reason for?
I don't know. Apparently this is personal. Like taking like a month or two is what they're saying online.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, good for him. Yeah, I'm sure the dude deserves a break from losing all the time.
He lost his Intercontinental Championship. He's getting his butt kicked by a supernatural being.
I'm just
take
hoping,
some time off, dude.
Yeah, take
focus
some time
on your
off.
mental health.
Yeah, let Raw and SmackDown get built up a little bit. Come back whenever they'll actually do something.
Just come back and start slaying everybody.
Yeah. Which, also, by the way, this thought popped into my mind while watching Raw. I know we talked about Finn joining the OC and making it like the faction that the Undisputed Era would be called up to go against. I almost thought of the idea of Samoa Joe joining the OC.
Yeah, because he did side with them during that beatdown at the end of Raw.
Yeah, I thought that would be a pretty interesting little faction, especially with how Styles and Joe are, just tied together in their careers.
Yeah.
I think it'd be an interesting group.
But, I don't know, just because,
Plus, Joe
just
might
kinda
be
seen
able
them
to pick up a win.
we've seen them go, head-to-head, pretty much, on the main roster. They fought each other anytime they've been involved.
But that was Styles as a face. They're all heels now.
Well, good storytelling, you're not just going to put them together because they're both bad guys now.
Oh, no. I'm not saying there's, not any work that needs to be done, but you're telling me Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Gallows, and Anderson all together?
It's pretty mouthwatering.
Yeah. That would be a pretty good group.
I want to see, like I said last week, I want to see a faction on the main roster. Not just a three-man group, not a tag team anymore. I want to see a faction.
Yes.
Where they can, Styles is the U.S. champ and the OC is the Raw tag champs, and you got a fourth person in there. Maybe he's gunning for another title, or they don't do this. These two guys are tag champs, but then these two guys can be tag champs too, or they don't do the Freebird stuff. They don't.
No, I wouldn't like that rule, honestly. There's 2 belts, 2-man team. If you want a 3-man, if you want a 3-man tag team, there are plenty of promotions around the world that do that crap. But it's too much. It's too many people you have to book.
Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike the rule, but it also does seem a little unfair because if you, like with the New Day, for example, if you've got Xavier and Big E are the tag champs, but Kofi is technically also a tag champ, you can just swap one of them out at any point.
I was about to say, is all of the New Day technically tag team champions right now?
I don't think so. I think they're keeping it separate this time. Okay. Because Kofi is the WWE champ, they're not doing the Freebird rules. Because
if that is so, then technically AJ Styles would be a Raw tag team champion right now.
Right, but he is not.
Oh.
I'm fairly certain. I am almost positive they're keeping it separate. They like to do that. They don't often give someone 2 titles.
I could see it in the event of a backup, oh hey, these 2 are the champions technically, but one of them's injured, but they need to defend the title. So it's okay, the third member can be a replacement.
Right. Kind of like Adam Cole did.
Yeah, for replacing Bobby Fish.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a good match.
Of course it was. We were there.
New Orleans.
We love to say that we were there. It's just, I even, like, once in a while I go back and watch it, it's still my favorite takeover. Just the presentation of it, and I think the matches on that show were the best they've ever had.
According to some people, it is the best takeover.
2 5-star matches.
Yeah.
If you want to... I know some people don't like Dave Meltzer or his ratings, but a lot of people consider his opinion like the standard of wrestling.
Yes.
They consider his opinions very highly, whether you agree with them or not. People are like, well, how good is that match? Well, Dave Meltzer gave it 4 stars. That's a pretty good match, yeah.
See, I sort of take that into consideration, like how I do with like movies or TV shows. Like if it's very popular, I'm not really, like I'm not really that interested to watch it.
Right.
It's like, okay, the mass of people say this is a good show, which sometimes it can be, but most of the time it's like, I'm just not really interested in this.
Right, and I agree with that too, because even some of his matches that he ranks very highly, like, correct me if I'm wrong,
Omega versus Okada, the supposed 6-star match. I watched it. It was pretty good. I don't know if I'd give it 6 stars.
Well, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Gargano and Ciampa 2, the street fight, did he give that 5 stars? Or it was like 4.5 or 5? I'm pretty sure he rated it higher than the first one.
I mean, pretty much every Gargano takeover match gets 5 stars.
Just about, but I'm almost positive he at least rated it higher than the first one, but I enjoyed the first one better.
Yes. I much more prefer the first one.
Yeah. And even the ladder match, which he did give the ladder match 5 stars, but if you go back and watch it, there are a couple spots that are kind of sloppy.
I mean, yeah, you got 6 guys all trying to,
right. But that's just going back to the point that he might have his opinion of it, and we kind of agree to an extent. Like, we both would say it's a great match.
Yeah. My
rating would not be the same as his rating.
No.
There is a match in particular that I've never heard anyone else talk about in the history of ever. Royal Rumble 2004. We've seen this match a million times. It's Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of my top 5 of all time favorite matches.
Oh,
I love that match.
No
one ever talks about it.
That is the standard for how a last man standing match should
yes.
go. I hate how they do them nowadays because nobody understands how to get the drama out of the 10 count.
Well, they also
it's get to 8, immediately jump up, not struggle through most of it, barely get back to your feet at 9.
Yeah.
It's 8.
Yeah.
8 on a knee, 9 standing up, no problem.
Same with countouts. They love to do this, like, I'm going to linger outside the ring until the 8, and then he gets to 9, and then I haven't moved, and it's like, 9.5, and then he just, like, springs into the ring. Like, where did you get this burst of energy? You were just, like, dead outside.
It's just enough energy to get into the ring, and then that's usually
and then you pass out.
Yeah, and then that's when the guy picks him up, does the finisher, and then it's over anyway.
Yeah, or, the 18th kick out of the night.
Yeah.
But, yes, if you haven't seen that match, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It is fantastic. And I'm not going to spoil the ending if you've never seen it. Not that it matters. It was 15 years ago.
15. Jeez.
But it's not how you might expect it to end that way. Screw it. It ended in a draw. And, people in the crowd are visibly upset. And I remember watching it and I was like, that's kind of dumb. They didn't have a winner. But now it's like, well, it just proves that they were, like, so evenly matched that they took each other to the limit.
Yeah.
And then, like, no one came out on top.
Well, that was just one match in an overall storyline between the two.
Right.
Like, I think it was Shawn won the title at elimination, not at Elimination Chamber,
but an Elimination Chamber match.
Elimination Chamber. And then went on to defend the title in like a 3 Stages of Hell match at Armageddon. And then I think that led to their match.
Remind me, not to cut you off. I have an idea. Come back around to it when you finish what you're saying.
Well, I don't know. I'm not 100%. I know that Shawn won the title in an Elimination Chamber, and I know they had a 3 Stages of Hell match for the title, which I believe Triple H won back.
Yeah, I didn't see any other part of the feud, but...
No, that was 2003. I was about to say I couldn't remember if that was in the 2002 debut of the match or if it was in 2003. but I'm pretty sure it was 2003.
Yeah. I just, like I said, I haven't seen any other part of that feud, but the Royal Rumble 04 was, for some reason, I don't remember if it was like us asking our parents to buy it, or if they just bought it thinking we'd like it. We had it on VHS as kids, and I watched that thing probably a dozen times, if not more.
It was like the first pay-per-view we ever saw.
At least that match and the Royal Rumble match itself. I didn't care for any other matches on the card.
Yeah, but that pay-per-view is such nostalgia.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like it's never talked about.
Right.
For
obvious reasons. Because you say Royal Rumble 2004, people go, "Oh, the one Chris Benoit won."
Who?
People that don't work for WWE, at least.
Yeah. As far as speaking of
one
Chris
that
Benoit,
they've erased from the record books.
Yeah. Speaking of that, though, I think there's only been like technically 2 mentions of him since the incident. They put Chris Benoit in the WWE Encyclopedia.
Okay.
And it's technically mentioned whenever they do their Royal Rumble by the numbers video.
Yeah, I did notice one year.
It's like they say the number 30 spot, which is like the luckiest, but has only had like the same number of winners as the number 1 spot.
And
so it's like it's technically a mention, but they only show Shawn Michaels.
They mention the statistic, but not his name.
Exactly.
They've mentioned that only 2 people have ever won from the number 1 spot, and then they'll say Shawn Michaels did it in 95. Is that the year he did it?
Yes.
95. They don't mention Chris Benoit for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But no, I had an idea just a second ago. Before I say what it is, though, you were talking about a 3 stages of hell match. That reminded me. Have you seen any of the build for TakeOver Toronto, SummerSlam weekend?
Unfortunately, no.
It's Gargano Cole 3, so super excited for that. It is another 2 out of 3 falls match, but the first stipulation is picked by, I think the first stipulation is picked by Adam Cole, and the second one is picked by Johnny Gargano, second fall. Little disappointing because Adam Cole picked just a regular singles match.
Yeah.
And then Gargano picked Street Fight for the second fall.
Of course.
And if it goes to a third fall, William
Regal
will pick the stipulation for that.
So it's not even been said what it
The third fall has not been said yet because they want you to wonder if it's even going to go that far, which it will. Yeah. Come on. Otherwise, they would have picked it already. But I was a little underwhelmed that Adam Cole just went with a regular singles match. It's probably so that Undisputed Era can get involved and he won't get disqualified.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he can't get disqualified in the second.
He would get disqualified in that first fall then.
He'll get disqualified, so...
I don't know what I'm talking about.
He'll get disqualified, so Gargano gets the first fall, beats him up in the second fall to get that one, and then we go to the third fall.
Yeah. Which, I think, once we do our SummerSlam predictions, maybe we could try and predict what that third fall is going to be. Third stipulation.
We got like, what, 2 sets of predictions to do next week?
Do we?
I believe so.
We just do SummerSlam.
Are we not going to... Isn't there a TakeOver show that weekend?
There is, but we've never done predictions for TakeOver. Are we going to start doing that?
I mean, we could do it for funsies.
For funsies.
I mean, well,
I'm down.
What was the last TakeOver show?
Last TakeOver was 25.
Yeah, I don't think we did one for that.
No, we haven't done one yet.
I mean, do we just want to make next week all predictions then? Just run down the card?
We're also supposed to do the draft. You know what? Next week...
Why don't we do the draft after SummerSlam?
Well, no, because SummerSlam was supposed to be the start of it. Season 2.
Well, well, whatever. I feel like it would be a lot easier to pick if, like, we get kind of like a blow-off for some storylines. At least I'm hoping that.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll do predictions next week, and then
TakeOver Toronto 2 and SummerSlam predictions for next week. And then hopefully the draft after that.
And then the draft will be after Raw and SmackDown following.
Yes.
We were originally going to do the draft before SummerSlam, but a fair point, like Fallout storylines, maybe some new stuff gets started, people return. SummerSlam's one of the big shows, so Especially like with Finn Balor, you said potentially taking time off. Like he could just be out of the picture. Who knows?
Exactly. Like the first time we did the fantasy league, it was like right after WrestleMania, and so like a lot of storylines ended, and apparently a lot of people were injured, and so we make up our rosters, and half of them didn't get points until like a month or two in.
Right. So we're gonna cut down the rosters quite a bit.
Yeah.
And maybe some other stuff.
We'll see.
We'll see. Next week is predictions, though. I still actually never got to my idea that I was telling you about. How would you feel about maybe as like a segment on a podcast? I don't see it taking the whole like episode or anything, but we each come up with like a brand new match stipulation and like present it. This is like something that we don't think's ever been done before. And just like, what do you think of this match?
Like something completely brand new, or
as new as we can make it, yeah.
Or can we like combine two stipulations together?
That's kind of lame. It depends on the stipulations.
Extreme Rules Elimination
I
Chamber.
want
because that went so well.
Steel Cage Hell in a Cell match. That's the same thing.
Technically,
I want a steel cage inside an elimination chamber.
It's pointless. How are the guys in the pod supposed to?
I want 2 cages. I want elimination chamber inside a Punjabi prison. English is hard.
I want a Lion's Den match inside of a steel cage, surrounded by a Hell in a Cell, that is within an elimination chamber, all surrounded by a Punjabi prison lumberjack match.
I want
the Alcatraz from Hell match. That's what I want.
I want an Inferno match, but the ring and the fire surrounding it is being suspended by a helicopter 1,000 feet in the air. And if you leave the ring, you fall to your death.
I want an MXC match where there's just like people with like tennis ball cannons shooting the competitors the entire time.
And it's god-awful English dubbing over Japanese commentators.
Can we have can we have Kenny Blankenship and the other guy for the commentary team?
What is the guy's name?
Yeah, I have to look it up.
It's gonna bother me now. I think it's on Hulu. It was last I checked. MXC.
Most Extreme
Elimination Challenge.
Can't have silence. Gotta. Vic Romano
and Kenny Blankenship. They're Japanese. That's not their real names.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen MXC, it used to be on Spike, and it was the most hilarious thing ever. It's just they took bits from some Japanese game show.
Yeah,
and they dubbed over everything in English, but it was not the translation. It was just like ad-libbed lines and stuff.
The official bio of it on Wikipedia, it is a repurpose of footage from the Japanese game show Takeshi's Castle, which originally aired in Japan from 86 to 90. But yeah, it was just one of those dumb shows, from back in the day.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2004.
But yeah, if you've never seen that show, I know this is not about wrestling anymore. If you've never seen MXC, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's hilarious. But yeah.
Want to end it there?
Let's end it there.
So, be back next week for TakeOver Toronto and SummerSlam.
Are we counting TakeOver Toronto as actual points, or is it still just for funsies?
I think it'll just be for funsies.
Okay.
We'll do that as like the...
SummerSlam predictions will matter.
Yes.
So, TakeOver predictions will be our little pre-show thing.
Yes.
All right. See you next week. Bye.